everyone is worried about the Senate because Justin Trudeau is running around with his hair on fire, appointing every lunatic off the street that's not in the drunk tank and has some kind of long donation record of the Liberals giving them Senate positions for life. And that's got a lot of people worried. So tell us a little bit about what the Senate situation is and how it probably won't affect the Conservatives' ability to bring forward legislation that'll set things right, I guess you could say.
That's right. Trudeau often brags about making the Senate more independent. He abolished the Liberal senators and said we should only have independent senators. And in a perfect world, that would work out. Unfortunately, Trudeau's idea of independent senators are the most wild, far-left activist senators you can find, huge donors to the Liberal Party. The last couple of appointments are a slap in the face. It's like he's not even trying to hide it. It's a complete mockery. And you would think anybody who's on the independent Senate group who literally would like to try and be independent would see it for what it is and call it out, but yet to be seen. So these last couple of appointments are a complete joke, and gun owners are justifiably so concerned with Trudeau just totally stacking the Senate. Is it even possible to do the things he wants to do? Because of course the Senate is part of the legislative process. And the answer is yes. The Senate is there as an unelected. The idea is they don't answer to voters. They don't have to do what their voters want in order to win again. They can do just what's right, which aren't always the same thing. They should be, but they're not. That's how it's supposed to work. They're supposed to be the chamber of sober second thought. They're supposed to make suggestions. Sometimes they make amendment suggestions to legislation that might make it better. They are not there to block legislation. In fact, it's only happened, I think, 6 times since the 60s that they blocked legislation, and it was nothing remotely even close to this. So it's a very rare occurrence. I don't think that would happen at this time. In fact, if Poilievre puts these things that he wants to do, including the possible rewrite of a Firearms Act, whatever it is he wants to do, if he lays that out clearly in his election platform, the Senate would defer to the CPC majority to carry out their mandate because that is the will of Canadians. So it would be a huge erosion of the entire institution for the Senate to try and play games. Will they be a little bit obstructionist and delay things? Probably. Yeah, that's probably going to happen, and it happens now. But to absolutely reject House of Commons legislation, unheard of. It is a concern because it will make things, of course, more difficult. At the same time, the Liberals have made it very mainstream to govern by use of OIC, something that was usually reserved just for implementing the measures of legislation. And now it basically has taken the place of. So yeah, it should be a very, very interesting legislative term. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I'd been mentioning to people that were asking those questions too is it's like the purpose of the Senate is to evaluate bills independently of the House from a different perspective, a perspective where they don't have to worry about voters, and then suggest amendments, basically, right? So the purpose of the Senate isn't to block the will of, an elected government. That is not the purpose. And if they were to do that, start behaving in that way, number one, I don't think it's going to help Canadians have any respect for the Senate, right? Because Canadians have been in a mood to abolish the Senate numerous times, so has Parliament, and their role is not to undermine or block democracy, right? It's funny because you have people on the left all the time. This is a threat to democracy. I mean, and you're Hitler, by the way. This is the language of the left all the time, like constantly. They go to these things. You're going to destroy our democracy. And it's like, well, the Senate really has a choice, and specifically the independent senators group has a choice. Are you going to be the ones that are going to undermine or exist as a threat to Canadian democracy? That's really the question. And if they choose to do that, they're going to have a lot of trouble with us. They're going to have a lot of trouble with other groups around the country. They're going to have trouble with the elected clear majority government. They're going to have a lot of trouble. It might be a FAFO moment for them, right?
Yeah, the thing is, like, if you have a conservative majority, even a super majority, it's a clear mandate from the people of Canada. And the Senate is in no position, and it's not their job to go against that. I can't even imagine what that would look like, but it would be a clear reason for Senate reform, which people have been calling for a long time. I don't think they would go down that road, but if they do it at their own peril.
Absolutely. That's what I've got for you for now. If you want to become a member of the CCFR and you aren't right now, you can do that at firearmrights.ca or ccfr.ca. If you're already helping us, thank you so much for that. Take care, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.